got blessed. I really got blessed. I needed that. I really did get blessed. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I need the Lord. I need to feel His presence. Sometimes we need to feel His presence. Even though He's there all the time, we just need to feel His presence. We need to feel Him, like, put His arms around us and say, it's okay. I love you. Everything's going to be all right. Hallelujah.
Exactly what it is.
Okay. Hallelujah. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thy heart. Hallelujah. Mercy. Hallelujah. And truth. So thou shalt find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Favor in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart.
Yes.
Lean not to thy own understanding. Wow, that's a big one right there, because our minds get in the way. Our understanding get in the way. Don't lean to your own understanding. It's just about always wrong. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. And it shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of thy increase. Honor the Lord. Honor Him. Be thankful. Be grateful for what He's done for us. And honor Him. Honor Him. He says, so shall thy barns be filled with plenty.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Plenty.
Yeah.
Not just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just getting by, but plenty. And thy presses shall burst out with new wine.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. You know, wine makes your heart glad. Hallelujah. Wine in the Lord makes your heart glad. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Isn't that right? That's why we're laughing and having fun today. Isn't that right? Because we spent time in His presence. Glory. Woo. You know, the joy of the, I just got to say, it's the joy of the Lord your strength.
Yeah.
And when we get aside of ourselves and start laughing, instead of thinking, oh no, oh me, oh my, and start laughing and start getting in His presence, and all that just goes away.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. And I did that. I did that this morning. I got in His presence, and I got blessed. I really got blessed. Thank you, Lord. Glory. So let's honor Him with all our substance. Worth the first fruits of our increase. Hallelujah. And let's get in agreement with the Word. It says He meets all our needs according to riches and glory in Christ Jesus. Hallelujah. He meets all our needs. And it says, when two or more gather in your name, His name, He's here among us.
Yeah.
And whatever we agree upon, He'll be in the name of Jesus, and touch it, it'll be done for us.
Yeah.
So when we think of this, like what Ivan said last week, when we're up here and we're saying our confessions, and when our giving, we're honoring Him with our tithes and offerings.
Yes.
Let's get in agreement with this word we're saying. We're not just repeating words, empty words that we say every Sunday. These are not empty words. These are faith-filled words. These are container words. And when we say it and get in agreement, then it's going to come to pass. Hallelujah. And when it comes to pass, you know, we start thanking Him for it now and praising Him for it now. We can count it as done now in Jesus' name. Hallelujah. So y'all stand up and let's say this. Hallelujah. We believe with our hearts. And we confess with our mouths. For jobs and better jobs. Raises and bonuses. Increased benefits. Ideas for new inventions. And business opportunities. Estates and settlements. Sold property. Deals on purchases. Supernatural protection.
full of anointing, isn't he? Follow him. Praise God. So, I want to prophesy a little bit. Because I just want to tell you what the Lord showed me this morning and some things that have happened. So, it was, obviously, I had a good time this morning. But the Lord showed me, I've never seen, everybody knows what a monarch butterfly looks like. Everybody knows what a beautiful butterfly looks like. This was I thought it was a butterfly at first, but it was the most beautiful angel I had ever seen. Had wings, just glorious, beautiful color, radiant. I mean, picture the prettiest thing you've ever seen. I'm country prettiest. Picture the prettiest thing you've ever seen in your entire life, and this went above it. I promise you. I was absolutely just amazed. Didn't know. But I seen this angel, and he came in. I say he because it was definitely a he. But he came in, and as we began to go into the throne room, into the third heavens, this angel came in, and he began to sit and light upon people. He just came in, and it's like I know Scripture says the Spirit came down and sat on Jesus as a dove. This is kind of what I was seeing, was this angel coming in and just sitting on people. And me being me, I just asked him, I said, hey, what are you doing? And he said, he said, I'm pollinating. I said, you're doing what? And he said, I'm fertilizing. I'm pollinating. I like the fella in the Spirit. I was like, you're what? As he sat up on each person, he deposited a gift. He deposited some grace on each person. But he was pollinating. Now, anybody that knows anything about plants and animals and stuff like that, pollen is like a seed that is planted. It's the other part that is required for life. And the angel said, I'm depositing the next part in your life. The next part is being deposited to bring life. Now it just has to cultivate and grow. And he left. He left. Not before he hit every individual in here, including the little kids, including the youngest to the oldest. He hit everyone and said, I've deposited that which the Father has deemed necessary for each individual. So you have what the Lord wanted to give you. It's been given. You just have to tap into that life. So this angel left, and that's when we went to the party. We went to the dance. We went to the party. I want to say something like, I don't know how to describe it. I really don't. It was just amazing. But there was a group of men there, and I don't know who they were. They were saints that had gone on before. But they was talking about us in this little fellowship here. They were saying things like, that's that wild bunch. That's that wild bunch down there. They've tapped into it. That's that wild bunch. They know what they've got. They're just not walking in it fully. Well, it got deposited. There's been note taken in heaven. We just have to walk it out.
Thank you, Lord.
So I did meet Paul, my apostle, and he said, guess what? I said, what, Paul? He said, Yahweh got it. He said, Yahweh got it. He said, but don't hesitate that the enemy will try to come in and take it from you. He said, keep your guard up. So I'm here to exhort you to keep your guard up and let that cultivate, let that life that was placed in you today cultivate and tap into it. It's not something that you're going to have to tap into it, all right, as it grows. So I just want to share with you all that, because the Lord is good and his mercy endures forever.
Thank you, Lord.
For the Lord, he is good and his mercy endures forever. If he's going to be good to anybody, it's going to be me. It's going to be you. It's going to be you. It's going to be everybody. So just keep your guard up. And I pray that you see the attack of the enemy when it comes. In Jesus' name. Now I want to share something else that happened a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, I came. Yeah, listen to that. Okay, yeah. All right. So a couple of weeks ago, I came under attack, and I don't mind sharing. Can I share some of what I shared with you? Yeah, I'm floating right now. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I came under attack mentally, which led to some other things. But I felt, and I don't know, and if this, I feel like I got to share this to help somebody. I felt disassociated. Number one, from the body of Christ. All right. Do you know what disassociated means? I felt disassociated from the body. I felt disassociated from my pastor. I felt disassociated from anything that you would call spiritual. And it was just an attack by Jezebel's spirit, is basically all it was. But I didn't recognize it at first. I thought, it was just, I was tired, didn't want to go to church, didn't feel like listening to Richard preach, didn't feel like hearing anything. And I got to thinking, well, golly, Richard ain't even aware that he sucks. So I started pushing myself away from Richard. But it was just a lie of the enemy. You don't suck, bro. You preach really well. But I felt disassociated, but what I felt the worst was betrayed by the body and betrayed by my pastor for not seeing that. Now that's a lie of the enemy. Because number one, I was not disassociated. I was connected up to Christ. I'm in Christ. He's in me. Number two, my pastor loves me. I hope. Number three, I'm part of the body. I'm a fitted part of the body. So why would I even feel disassociated from anything that's going on? So the Lord just kind of led me down this long path for a couple of weeks. And finally I said, you know what? I said, this is a lie straight out of the pit of hell. Number one, if you ever feel like that you're not getting enough attention from the body, from your pastor, from those around you, you need to stop and pray, because that's your pride getting in the way. All right? Because if you think it's all about you, it's not. I'm sorry to bust your big fat bubble. It's not about you. Get out of your flesh and get it back in the spirit. All right. Number 2, if you begin to feel that way, come talk to somebody. All right. Don't let it fester like I did for 2 weeks. I should have immediately, when I felt that, I should have immediately went to the Lord, but I didn't. I started complaining to my wife about it. And she's the one that had all the wisdom that the Lord put on this earth and said, you need to talk to Richard. So, thank God for her wisdom, or I would still be in that position. But anyway, I'm killing your time here, ain't I? But, I encourage you, if you begin to feel that way, the Lord is full of restoration. He can restore you back to where you was, but you've got to desire that. See, I could have wallowed in that. I could have kept going in that, and probably wouldn't be here today if I did. But I encourage you, if you begin to feel like you're not important, if you begin to feel like you don't matter, nobody's paying attention to you, first repent and then talk to somebody. Because it's not true. It's a lie from the very pit of hell. I'm telling you, it's a lie. You matter. Not only do you matter to the body, not only do you matter to your pastor, but not only do you matter to those around you, but you matter to yourself. Because the Lord wants your heart. And that's all that matters. If you feel like you're in that position, or if that has been bugging you, or been tapping, hitting you in the head or something, you've been thinking about it, I'll tell you where it really came from. If you've been thinking about you really don't want to go to church today, then you're under attack. Because your spirit desires to be in a corporate anointing. Your spirit desires to be here with the body. Your spirit desires to be here where we can tap into the throne room. So if you're getting up on Sunday mornings or Saturday nights going, I'm really nice, you need to repent and get your butt here. Because you're coming under attack and you're not realizing it. So, I guess I'm going to be done now. Hallelujah. Praise God. I'm just doing what I feel like the Lord told me to do.
Y'all really not encouraging, man. I tell you.
It's in your jacket. I'm not gonna take it. I don't know what is left to stand back. It's
We having a good time anyway.
We're having a good time.
Amen. Word God.
Been getting the word of the Lord.
I know. You're right, absolutely.
He wants to understand.
You want another one? What, we got one? Just wait a minute, let me say something, and then I'll let you. I'm not gonna-
We got to start earlier.
I got to start early. On time. We did start.
8:30. 8:30.
That's right, God. Well, this is the deal. If you need to live for this stuff, and then in time it shouldn't matter. I know
That's
people
right.
are tired and this is their only day off. But really, if we all live for this stuff, I'm speaking to like this side, this side. A lot of vacancies are. Well, you just, I heard a young man preach this. He said, he was actually talking about tithing. He said, what's the deal with tithing? He said, that's the old covenant, whatever. People tell me that all the time. He says, why does Jesus want 10% of your money? And the guy, he answered back and says, hey, Jesus doesn't want 10% of your money. He wants all your money. The fact is, he wants all of your life.
That's right.
He was a young guy, minister, and he got up to it. He said, y'all don't realize, he said, you said you gave your heart to Jesus.
That's right.
You gave yourself to Jesus.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you give yourself, if I give you a gift, that means it's no longer mine, it's yours.
Right.
So if you give the gift of your life to Jesus, then it's his life.
Amen.
He can do whatever he wants to with it.
Right.
Tithe is I still believe in tithe. I believe tithe is a good, it keeps us steady. Because most folks, when we get off, we probably end up not giving anything. And then nothing lasts. Everything follows up. But literally, he wants everything.
That's right.
He requires everything. Tithe is not like a way, it's not like paying for protection in the neighborhood. Keep the thugs off of it. I like a lot of people see tithe as it's a payoff. Some guy will get you or something. No, really, some people do it. And you should just, that's a good thing to do. Praise God.
This right here will keep them off of you.
Yeah. The Lord keep on. That's what I'm saying.
The
What we're
word.
doing is good. And we're seeing things, people are seeing things. And some people think it's spooky. Some people have left actually because they think it's too spooky. But this, I don't see nobody going back. I don't want to go back. But I was watching a pastor who's greatly developed in sin in the spirit, and he was sharing on singing in the spirit, and he emphasized. He said, because most people nowadays are not. He said you'd be grounded in the Word, really grounded. You might not like that, but you've got to be grounded. Because you're going to encounter things, and if you don't know what the Word says, he said there is the element of deception.
That's right.
And you don't, because you're going to see some stuff. And y'all ain't seen nothing yet, really. I mean, some of us are saying more than others, and it's a matter of your eyes clearing up. Just like you would your natural vision clear up to where you see it, you can begin to see in the spirit. And you need to understand that is your God-given privilege.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus told Nicodemus. One of the most famous scriptures we ever, everybody quotes. Talking about you must be born again. He said, "Unless a man be born from above," and catch this, born from above. That's what it actually says. He said you're gonna have to. The old Adam is brought sin and death into the world. The last Adam brought life.
That's right.
The first Adam, he goes on 1 Corinthians, if you want to turn there or something, if you want to look at the Bible, 1 Corinthians 15, y'all read it. He said he noticed that the first man was earthly. He was a living soul. God made him a living soul. But the last man, talking about Jesus and talking about us, was made a life-giving, say giving, spirit. So we need to understand that when you got born again, y'all boys, you listen. Y'all need to listen. Y'all can listen. Y'all listen to school, don't you? You need to understand about that. I'll tell you something about yourself, because you're young. You're going to grow up. And if you grow up right, a lot of things are going to happen in your life. You are a life-giving spirit. Now, yeah, I know you got a body. Say this with it, like Brother Hayes said. I am a spirit.
I am a spirit.
I have a soul.
I have a soul.
But I live in a body.
I live in a body.
And they're all integrated into one another where you can't separate them. Only the Word of God can separate them. That's just for the distinction of dealing, God dealing with it.
Sure.
And He will deal with it.
Amen.
But what I just said, I'm very proud. Now, see, that's, and I'm not going, because I'm not going to take the tag over. But I am going to share this with you, because this will help you, okay? This is a really good teaching. I'll teach you later. It's about becoming a door. God wants you to become a door.
Right.
And it's for a word and and Jesus is the door
Amen.
to allow us to go access the heavens. But then God wants to make us a door
Right. so
people could access the heavens through us. Not, we don't take the place of Jesus,
Right.
but they could access, we're doors of access. You need to start thinking of yourself as a portal or access so other people can come in contact with what they can't see,
Right.
which is Jesus. Amen, you follow me? But let me get back to this guy. He said, you need to understand it. And he said, how to develop serious? But we need to understand that all, God wants all, that's His desire. That doesn't mean everybody's going to see, and it's up to you to develop. But He said, you've got to be grounded in the Word. That's why I do what I do. I know sometimes y'all would like to and I do, I like, God, we need that this morning. We need it in worship. But you can't think, well, that's it. There's some people come in and they don't know anything about the Word. Some of you do, some of you don't. Some of you don't know the Word now. I know what you've got. You're going to say that's your plumb line. He called it the plumb line. How many of you know what a plumb line is? It's like you hold up, it's got an object, it's a line, and because of gravity, you can hold it up something, and it'll give you a straight line, or a straight angle. Well, it's a perfect right angle, right? I always say that the Word is like a ruler. Not to spank you with, or not to rule over you, but you take it, you can measure whatever you're experiencing alongside. Now, I didn't say you measure it alongside your church doctrine
Right.
or man's doctrine. That's like the Holy Spirit was given. He's the teacher, and nobody can do a better job than the Holy Spirit. Taking that word, so several places this guy said it. I was like, golly, this guy sounds like he's been living in my house. He said, like I always say, and write stuff down. He was real kind. He said, go ahead and get you a little cheap spiral notebook. I like fancy notebooks. He said, write down when God speaks to you. Sure. And expect God to speak to you.
Sure.
Expect Him to speak to you. And to get quiet, just sit down and listen to Him. Or when we're worshiping something, God spoke to you today, what was it? Write it down. I try to record. That's why I record stuff on. Because you need it later on when these attacks come.
Sure.
See, I've been under that attack ever since that word I gave a month and a half ago about the Lord said, confront. And I never could figure it out because I said, I ain't got a Jezebel in the church. He said, confront the Jezebel spirit. And then he went on to say some things about it, and when you speak, it's going to crumble. But man, I tell you, it's been hell for us. Ever since, I'm talking, maybe been for you too, but I'm telling you, this spirit does not want you to worship God. does not want you to walk in what God's moving. See, you don't understand. This stuff's happening all over. This stuff is what we're doing here is happening all over on a greater scale in other places, because this area is a stronghold of religion. Did you hear me? And this, I've said it's taken out, but y'all see, I feel the pain of this stuff. I mean, it hurts me, it grieves me to have people just walk out and just leave. And not even have the courtesy to tell me they're leaving. Or why, or give me a chance. Wait, if I've done something wrong, I mean, I'm not trying to talk to you, if you want to leave. But at least don't leave me hanging. It's like, where the heck did you go? Why did you leave?
That's right.
It's just like, well, do you get this through your head? So I also listen out there. I'm not ranting. I'm not angry. I got real peace this morning. But I'm telling you what, like that, this is not right.
Sure. Amen.
To just walk away from the body and walk away from people that have, and walk away from me. And I've given my life to you. You can ask my wife. Call me up and cuss me out. Just talk to me.
Sure.
I've said this before. Right? Yeah, I'm going to do a little synopsis right quick and shut up before I got 5 minutes. The devil dwells in darkness.
That's right. That's right.
Dark, and you can say that's not communicating.
That's right. Yep.
You understand? If God's dealing with your heart that you need to go and move on, and you got all you got out can get out of me, and you're still hungry for God, you want more, and there's more out there. I'm all for you, man. I'll buy you a bus ticket.
Amen.
But if you just want to just drop out and go back into the world and be another victim of this spirit, I don't want that for you.
Amen. Right.
Yeah, amen. You follow me? Do I sound like I'm fussing?
Nope.
I'm trying not to. I'm trying not. I don't want to become angry because I have to become angry. One thing I got, get a hold of this. And I haven't hid it. See, it's spooky. See, I know when it's on. He does amaze me. Because he's, a lot of people have quit by now. I've seen them quit. I've seen plenty of people. I have seen plenty of people quit. And I know how it happens. I know how it works. I know how the devil gets in there. I know how he gets there and then start planting seeds and you start feeling in a certain way. And then before you know it, you're just like, you built up this storyboard in your mind of all this crap. And it didn't come from God.
That's right.
You read the book of James, it says there's two kinds of wisdom. One from above, one from beneath. The one from beneath is earthly, sensual. What else? Bad, devilish, demonic. The one from above is easily intriguing. Easily intriguing. In other words, you can talk to him. And he says it bears, and the one from above bears the peaceable fruit. You said peace to me this morning. The peaceful fruit of righteousness. And when I say righteousness, I mean a right relationship, not only with God, but with one another in the body of Christ.
Amen.
So James was talking about this. He was saying this wisdom that you say you're receiving, and it's going on in your head. You need to check it out. What's the fruits? Jesus said you'll know them by their fruits. But he was talking about prophets. It was actually anything in the kingdom can be known by what it produces.
Right.
So if it's producing turmoil, it's producing strife, anger, or depression, jealousy, envy. You go to Galatians to the fruit of the flesh.
Yeah.
It's producing that. Then you know what you need to learn this. Burn it in your head. You know it, that wisdom is not coming from above.
Right.
But if it is produced in the fruit of the Spirit,
Yeah.
patience, long suffering, you know, name
Joy.
nine joy, not the 9 foot, there 9 foot, not. If it's producing that, then you understand that it's wisdom that's coming from above. So there's a wisdom from above.
Yep.
Literally in the realm of the Spirit, there's a heaven where there's more wisdom to it. And that we have access to that wisdom. So I encourage people to pray in the Spirit. Because it's more old worship. Or sit still.
Yeah, amen.
Learn to sit still. Listen, this is very important. If you can't sit still for 15 minutes and not move, and not watch TV or something, you need to develop something.
Sure.
People don't sit still anymore. You have to. The Bible says, "Be still and know."
No.
Yada. I said the word yada. I think me and Henry got something to go about this yada thing. You understand yada? I think. I believe he understands yada. He's a word. It's a Hebrew word. It means to know, but it means it's something beyond that. It means to have a fellowship, an intimate fellowship knowledge.
That's right.
He said, "Be still and yada, that I am Elohim,
Amen.
that I am God."
Yeah.
In other words, he's got stuff to say to you, but you can't. If you don't learn how to shut your mind down, listen. Can you see? And this, all this crap, all the games stuff. People think all the games and stuff. All the stuff is so. That stuff's taking your attention.
That's right.
It's training your brain not to be able to sit still.
That's right.
Right.
You don't understand. Everything around us and most of the media is training us constantly to not stop thinking. I know a brother, he says, and I tried this, I practiced it, a form of meditation, where you actually, and see people, and you age. No, be still and know I'm God.
Amen.
He said he could go 15 minutes and not think a thought. No thought. Absolutely, his brain shut down. 15 minutes. And then, when he does hear something, he start hearing something. He'll start hearing what the helping saying. I do that praying in tongues. I pray in tongues and do that. I hear stuff, but you think you got to be thinking. See, some of you right there, y'all not paying a bit of attention. You giving your partial attention.
Sure.
You can't focus. That's why you can't sit in here over 30 minutes without getting antsy. So
Sure.
you go, I should hurry up. So what he's saying is good, but I've got enough of this. You don't understand. There's an anointing that flows different than what. Some people can't see. Some people right here, they don't like to worship. And God knows. You can enter into the Spirit. Right? This is all about you entering into the Spirit.
Amen.
You've got to live in the world a lot. You know, I'm not telling you to get so heavily minded and you know earth is good. You need to learn how to enter in at any time. You need to know how to step over into the Spirit realm. You need to say, you know what? I need to step over the Spirit. Pardon me. You know, somebody's got a problem, or got a problem, you know, and you don't know the answer. They say, pardon me just for a minute. Let me step over here. And see from a different place. See, you got to see things like God sees.
Yeah.
Didn't your son say that to you?
Yep, sure did. Had a dream.
Had a dream. He said you got. What did he say? He said you got to see it from God.
He said he had a dream, and it was very real. It was extremely real, because when he came to church, he went up there in the balcony.
Yeah.
And he said he went up, so he went up there and he came back down. I talked to him later, and he said, I had this dream, Dad. And he told me that he dreamed that people were here playing basketball. And he went up to the balcony,
Yeah.
and he looked down, and he got this word, and it was this: to understand really what's going on, you've got to see it from above.
See it through a God. That's the word of the Lord.
It
You have
was.
to, see, this is what you think. This isn't all about seeing stuff. Well, I saw this. I saw that.
That's right. Come on.
I've seen them butterflies.
Did you?
Well, I didn't see that one day, but I was tell her you doing. I tell her. I met an angel back there. I was minding my own business. I told you all this story. And he said had several plaques, and a white. That's why that white rose right there. And he had a face. He said, "I want to give you a healing in the morning." Well, I had to ask him. He just standing like this, like a butler. The servants. And I finally said, "Well, what do you want? What are you doing?" He said, "I've come to bring you this healing in the morning. Do you want it?" I said, "Well, really?" I said, I argued with him. I said, "Well, Pamela's the one that's got the healing in the morning." That's what I told him. Because the Lord told him one time, he said, "You operate the gift of faith and prophesy and let her lay hands on the sick." He told me. I said, I argued with him. I said, well, Pamela's the one that's got the healing on. And he said, like, "Do you want it?" I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." You know, and I went out as an act of faith. I bought this scarf because it was a white scarf. And he actually put it around my neck like this. He said, "Hold your hands out." Like he did. He put his hand on me. And it wouldn't. And I told Pamela, I remember Brother Hagen talking about when God anointed him with healing on. He said, "Boy, like cold." And I thought, well, this isn't burning like cold. I said, but I did feel it. I felt it. So you feel a little bit now. It's not overwhelming, but it's there. You feel it? Oh, yeah, it's there. And Pamela started to tell me, there's a condition. That condition's got to go. That condition's got to go.
Yeah, you're right.
All that crap brought this thing on. It's got to go. It's got to go in Jesus' name. Thank you, Father. Just receive it right now in Jesus' name. Put it in there. There we go. God said, just healing up. It's almost like, you know, it was like a demon cut you with a sword. Cut you. This healing, I see a scar healing up. I'm going to cut this heal up. It represents to you. You see that this is what I do. I can't help what I do. Anyway, this angel said, and I saw that up, see what I said in Buffalo. I was talking to him yesterday. He had on the plate, there was a book. A little book. What book is it? You know, it looked like a little dress book. You know, with old-timey dress book. And out of it, after he said that, these beautiful butterflies. I call them insects. But they were butterflies. And I told Paul, I said, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've never seen it wasn't like a monarch. I've been to the place down in Honduras where all the monarchs come. They call it Butterfly City. It's just like it's amazing. But they were nothing like they were the most beautiful things. And they were insects. They were little birds. I didn't see the angel, but I saw that, and they just flew off. And I thought, well, what does that mean? It's a book. And it said there's stories can be written about what the healing and stuff. But I have not entered into that yet. I think that's a lot of things God shows you. It takes you years to enter into it. How did I get off on that? That's because of you. Oh, yeah, buddy. Gosh, you know, see, that's what I'm trying to say is, now, well, this is the last thing, because I've got, see, time, where does this time go? I'm not gonna, I've turned my tablet off now. Just one last thing. This thing about the corporate anointing, I've always said this, that there's more anointing. I said, God, why we need to get together like this? There's more anointing. When there's more people. And it's just a single person, or even there's a lot of power in just two people.
That's right.
But there's an anointing, I call it a corporate anointing, because it's a body. But it's not just gathering a bunch of people. You get big churches with a lot of people in there, there's no more anointing. So it's not that. It's not the amount, really. But it's the agreement.
That's right.
It's the agreement. There's an awesome. Now I've learned all this thing over the years of just. I didn't read this in the books or anything. I've read books that bear witness to it. But you see, you don't understand how important you are.
Amen.
Your agreement with what's going on. You know, and when I say that, just agree that, you know, that you want the purpose of God to be manifest.
Amen.
You know, come in agreement with, and you know, that does something. It just multiplies this anointing. And I believe that's why the enemy's fought so hard against it. You can listen. You can have some pretty songs. You can have some pretty buildings and pretty people, and I'm not against that. God knows I believe in God to pay this place off, fix it up, and modernize it so it won't look like something came out of the 30s or something. You know, I'm not. It's nothing holy about raggedy stuff. But the anointing's more important, really.
Amen.
The presence of God's more important.
Yeah. Amen.
Praise God. There you go. All right. Well, praise God. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, Stevie, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not trying to cut you all off. I'm just so used to do what I do. I've had to make an adjustment my whole lifestyle. I mean, I got a kid took my drums away from me.
He asked.
Yeah, I know. He's scared to crap.
Hallelujah. Amen.
This morning, the Lord showed me something and gave me a word, and the word was sifting. And then
Sifting?
sifting. Sifting. Like, has anybody ever sifted flour?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure, man. It's sifting.
And
No, no, I'm sorry. You people harass you.
yeah, it's all right. I came in this morning and with a lot of my mind, a lot of my heart, self-judgment, I guess, self-condemnation. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Just a lot of thoughts and stuff. And I just kind of gave it to the Lord. And he told me, he said, son, he said, it's all right. He said, I know where your heart is at. I know that you love me, and I love you, and I love you just as much as I love, other people, other people. And he says that as you go through life, you're going to pick up things, and they're going to tag themselves to you, and it's pretty much going to become baggage. And as you do your best to walk a life of Christ and do your best to walk with me, he says that stuff is going to start weighing you down and weighing you down. and cause you to be influenced and cause you to be drugged different ways. And he says there's going to come a time in your life you will have to be sifted. And he said it will be my sifting. And he said that all those things that you picked up, all those things that you leaned toward, all those things that you at the time thought were okay, it's no big deal, all those things will have to be sifted away from you. And you'll have to be refined. And he said, it's that refining process that allows for the seeds of life, for the seeds of prosperity and the seeds of joy to take place. Because as you are being refined, I am tilling your ground in order to plant those seeds. And he says, as those seeds grow and manifest, they will begin to pollinate and begin to spread to other people. And he says, but the sifting process is necessary. It is crucial. Because if I allow certain things to get by, if I excuse certain things, then I'm not portraying life. I'm not giving life. My son didn't die for the right reasons. He died so that you may have life.
Yep.
He didn't die for baggage. He didn't die for turmoil and despair. He didn't die for that. He died for you to have life, to have love, to have hope, to feel the glory, to have the Spirit to guide you through life. He said, but you have to be sifted. You have to break away from those things that have tagged themselves to you, or that you have allowed to hold on to you and drag you down and back you up. You have to allow yourself to be sifted. You have to allow that. It is crucial in your growth, spiritually, physically, mentally. It is crucial for your growth in God, and your growth in Jesus, and your walk in life. And he just told me, he says, son, there's no need for it. There's no need for self-condemnation. There's no need for guilt. There's no need for pity. He said, pray for those who you are feeling for. Pray for those who you are thinking of. Pray for those who you know are doing the right thing according to them and according to my work in their life at the time. He said, but pray for their growth. Pray for their spirituality to increase. Pray that they might see the glory, not just physically, but spiritually. Pray that they might have life. Pray that they have hope. Pray that they have joy. The same things I'm trying to put into your life. He says, but in order for you to do that, you have to be sifted.
Sure. Sure. Good. Actually,
I mean, from what I've been, I study some things I wouldn't even let y'all, I wouldn't even recommend to you. Because but when you move, I was talking to someone about this week. And it gets way too complicated to teach right now because it's really confusing. What about moving to the heavens, the different heavens? The first three, in heaven and on earth, the 12 tribes of Israel represent a certain thing. 12 tribes, the 12 apostles in heaven make the foundation of the New Jerusalem. And they're broken up into triads. I'm not going to take on triads. And you have the sons, the 12 tribes. They're divided into three. First is Reuben, Simon, and Levi. All right, this is the part where God sifts you. These three, if you look at their lives, they all had characteristics. They had blessings, they had anointing, but they had things that they had in their lives. One was anger. Levi and Simon had anger because they destroyed a whole village because somebody raped one of their daughters, so they just killed everybody. Reuben slept with his back then that, they had concubines, men had concubines, so he slept with his father's wife. And that wasn't his mother, but it was his, would be like his stepdad. So he had a problem with sexuality. And people don't realize that sexuality represents more than just sex. It's the whole energy base of a human being stems from their sexuality. And if you don't get control over that, or you don't let God deal with it in that area, then it'll mess you up. And you go on to the next triad is Judah. You're talking about David. David was the line of the tribe of Judah. You're talking about then you enter into kingship. That's where wealth comes from in that area. This is where the wealth comes in. This is where God allows you to have wealth. In this, I'm just briefly in this next triad of these are heavens. You see, you don't realize you're moving through heavens. You're not, most of the night in your sleep, you're not aware of it. But these things that you're moving through, like you're feeling in the last 2 minutes, that's when you're moving through a heaven. And then with every heaven, there's a hell. And there's a literal hell, there's a literal heaven. I'm not saying, but you're moving through the heaven. And so when you're sifted, Jesus said to Peter, he said, Satan has sought to sift you as wheat. But he could only do what God allowed him to do. But Jesus said this, he said, but I have prayed that your faith will not fail. It's a good thing to pray for people that are going through something. You don't want to see your loved ones going through stuff, but pray that your faith will fail.
That's right.
Pray, when you're going through it, pray that your faith will fail, because your faith will see you through.
That's right. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. So I thought, well, I'm going to this. I'm expecting. This is, and I'll prophesy. Can I prophesy?
Yeah. Amen.
I'm expecting a great outpouring, not just for me and my family, but for other people in this fellowship. And I'm not just. I'm expecting him to cause a great deal of finances to fall into individuals' hands. In proportion, some of it it'll be to others it won't look like much, it'll be a lot to you, but then it will be a lot. Now, God can directly move, and I've seen him do it. He can take somebody directly from being a baby Christian right into a great, without them passing through those 3 first chapters and getting their life dealt with, their anger, their pride. So I got the same thing. I told Pamela, I said, I know exactly what's going on in your mind because you think like me. You got a something personality or something. So I know this crap, And I have been thankful. Because I know that God knows the way to live. Yeah, because it's just some people's personality is like or something they're calling it. No more, I'm trying to help you. But you go through this, you got to go through these things, and it hurts.
Yes.
It hurts, man. God, it hurts. But if he takes you directly, now you can beg him, your daddy's good, he takes you directly into the next, and it says a quantum leap from these first 3 to this next dimension of Judah, the line. I mean, you're king. You're entering into kingship. You're ruler. You have a free will now. You got a free will, but most of us don't use our free will. We're still bound up. Something's not letting us use our free will.
Right.
Amen. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you had a free will that was not bound right now, you could sit here till tomorrow to 3 o'clock and it wouldn't bother you.
That's right.
You just say, I'm going to sit here and listen to what this guy goes on.
That's right.
But see, your free will is a lot of us your free wills are bound up by your belly, you're tired. And I'm not, this is no condemnation, this is just a fact.
That's right.
But you're not a king until you've got a free will, until you can say, you know what, I'm not gonna eat for 4 or 5 days.
There you go.
Because I'll make a decision, I'm not gonna eat, I'm gonna fast. I'm not there. I mean, come on, I'll tell you, but when that God was making it place, so he said, it doesn't matter. Hey, a king can, somebody with their free will that has been freed, you got free will, but but something along the way usually binds it up. You know, it could be an addiction. You know, it's 100 people, and I ain't gonna ask you a question, but you know, like you say, I want to quit smoking cigarettes. I want to. See, that's your will. You will to do that. And then you try to use your willpower to quit, and you can't quit, and you get condemned and beat up and stuff like that. See, you got free will, but it's bound up. Somewhere along the line, you let some kind of addiction or some kind of spirit come in there, and you didn't ask them in. They come in and fooled you somehow or something, and then religion came around and screwed you up enough to let her keep them.
Sure.
Are you following that? But God wants us to exercise free will. He wants us to be able to say, hey, you know what? The Lord's, and the Lord's, you know what, see, He doesn't want you to be a servant.
That's right.
That we're in the servanthood stage, but He wants you to serve, but He wants you to be a son.
That's right. Amen.
He'll set you free so that you can choose to give up your freedom.
That's right.
And give it back to Him.
Amen.
Are you following? But you did it freely. He didn't force you into it.
That's right.
He wants to see. There was a problem in heaven when Satan decided he's going to take over. Angels don't have. I used to believe it. I didn't understand this. Angels now don't have free will. Demons do. Fallen angels have free will.
Yeah.
Because at one time all angels had free will. But the good ones gave it up. They serve us now. They serve us.
That's right.
That's why demons try to get into people. Because they want to exercise their will. And override your will. And in some cases they've already overridden your will. That's why you're addicted. Whatever it is. But that's what this fire is coming from. God is sending in this. So when you're going through this stuff, I'll pray that you fight the fight.
Amen.
I'm going through it. But there's got to be a reason we're going through this stuff. Now you have to make a distinction between the devil just beating the crap out of you and you religiously accepting it.
Yes. Amen.
Or God dealing with you.
Amen.
About your anger, your bitterness, your whatever, your resentment, your jealousy, whatever, blah, blah, name it. You got me? And then once you go through that move through that heaven, you can't graduate. And guess what's waiting into the next one? Something else. Because even when God brings you into the heaven where you're rich, and you become powerful, you got to deal with that. That's a dangerous place to be. To have stuff that you've never had before, and also now you got all of it you can handle, and then what do you do with it? And you got a free will. It'd be real easy to destroy your life. But God does let people jump. But you know what happens? They always end up having to go back to the first story and go through. You ain't good. That's why you see the big time preachers, these guys get these big churches all of a sudden, and all of a sudden they find out, oh, this guy's been, messing with women or he's on cocaine or something like that. And everybody says, oh, all them Christians are fighting. No. He just jumped, God just let him jump right up to being a king. And then said, son, it's time to go back. You got to go back. You can't be handling all this power and stuff without getting this stuff dealt with.
That's right.
Because, listen, last word, the Lord wants you to be more like Jesus than you do.
Amen.
That's what it's all about.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about. And most of the body of Christ does not care about that.
Sure.
You understand? And maybe you don't care about it. It's okay, God still loves you.
That's right.
He'll let you sleep.
That's right.
He'll let you have he'll let you sleep. He loves you. He loves you. You can't get away from it.
Amen.
You just get the tears that he can wipe away from you when you get to heaven. They're not tears about your dog that died or your aunt Nell. The tears are going to be that, God, I missed all that.
Mm-hmm.
You had all that for me, and I wasn't willing to go through what I had to go through to get it. And then make you crazy, and he's going to wipe the tears away.
Sure.
Amen. Let's do that. I got my tackle. God bless you. Y'all are good. That ain't enough to thing over you. Praise God. Let's pray. We'll go. Keisha, Tala, Masata. Yes, 1 o'clock. Yes, Shatala. But I didn't start until 12:30.
That's right.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
But everything that was said and everything that was done, I believe was more.
Amen.
Everything. Everything. Amen?
Amen.
Y'all agree with that?
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's good.
Amen.
Now, let's pray. Let's pray together. Let's pray together. Let's get you focused on it. Just a second, just a minute. And let's do this. Say, Father,
Father,
I pray
I pray
for the one next to me.
for the one next to me.
Then, Father God,
Father God,
their faith
their faith
will not fail.
will not fail.
We know you won't fail.
You will fail.
But we pray that their own faith
Pray that your own
be
faith
strengthened
strengthened
by your voice,
by your voice,
by your word.
by your word.
Because faith comes by hearing,
Faith comes by hearing,
and hearing by the word.
hearing by the
The
word.
word of God. The spoken word. Speak to us, Lord. And while I pray for them right now, Lord, I ask you, and we did this earlier, Father, I ask you to forgive their sins, Father God. Forgive my sins. Forgive their sins, Father. In Jesus' name. Be released from the penalties, Lord. The sins of omission,
Yes.
sins of commission, Lord.
Yes.
In Jesus' name. I thank you that your precious blood sweeps over them right now, Lord. Changing their minds, changing their DNA, Lord.
Yes.
Changing my DNA, my mind, God. In Jesus' name. Let the anointing, Father, of the Holy Spirit
Yes.
penetrate their lives
Yes.
and open their minds and their hearts. In Jesus' name, we bless you and bless the people who are not here. Lord, draw them back by your Spirit. That's your will for their lives, Father. Draw them back. Take authority of that spirit of witchcraft and Jezebel in Jesus' name. That's trying to mess up things. Not gonna do it. Say, you agree with that? Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
In Jesus' name.
Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Yay!